There was a man in Viking Iceland who was so dangerous that his enemies refused to fight him. Not because they were cowards, because they'd seen what happened to the last people who tried. His name was Gunnar of Hlíðarendi, and he is the most important Viking you've never heard of. Picture the year 980 AD, Iceland, a country that had no king, no standing army, and no police, just farms and the law. The law was everything. It was the only thing holding Icelandic society together. And the law said this: if you kill a man, his family can kill you back, legally, which meant every dispute, every insult, every sword drawn, carried consequences that could echo for generations. In this world, Gunnar of Hlíðarendi was supposed to be a farmer, tall, unusually strong, described in the sagas as the most handsome man anyone had ever seen. He didn't want to be a warrior. The sagas are very specific about that, but men kept forcing his hand. The first time Gunnar killed someone, it was self-defense. The second time, also self-defense. By the fifth time, his enemies had stopped sending one man at a time. There's an account in Jarl's saga, one of the most detailed records of Viking Age Iceland, of a coordinated attack on Gunnar's farm. 30 men, one of the largest raiding parties assembled against a single individual in Icelandic history. Gunnar held them off alone, with a halberd, a bow, and the layout of his own land. He killed 14 of them before they retreated. When they regrouped and came back, he killed more. The survivors reported something that doesn't appear anywhere else in the sagas. Gunnar was smiling, not with rage, not with madness, with calm. Eventually, the law caught up with him, not because he'd done anything wrong. By Icelandic standards, every killing was legally defensible, but the sheer number of dead meant the families demanded action. The Althing, Iceland's parliament, ruled that Gunnar had to leave, 3 years exile, leave Iceland or be declared an outlaw, which meant anyone could kill him without legal consequence. Gunnar agreed. He packed his things, said his goodbyes, rode toward the ship that would take him away, and then he stopped. His horse stumbled on the hillside. Gunnar turned and looked back at his farm, the green fields, the river, the light on the valley. He said, and the saga records this almost word for word,
"How beautiful the hillside is. I never noticed it before. I am not leaving."
He rode back. He knew exactly what it meant. He went back inside, and he waited. His enemies came. Of course, they came. What followed was the last stand the sagas describe in almost reverential silence. Gunnar held the farmhouse alone. His bowstring snapped mid-fight. He asked his wife for a strand of her hair to restring it. She refused. The sagas don't explain why. They just record it. With her hair, he might have survived. Without it, he couldn't hold them off. Gunnar of Hlíðarendi died on the hillside he refused to leave. Here's what history remembers wrong about the Vikings. It wasn't the berserkers who defined them. It wasn't the raids, the longships, the conquest. It was this: a man who looked at a hillside, decided it was worth dying for, and walked back through the door anyway. The Viking world was violent beyond anything we can imagine, but it also produced men who understood, better than most, what a life was actually worth. Gunnar wasn't the greatest warrior in the sagas. He was something rarer, a man who knew exactly who he was and never once apologized for it. That's the Viking the history book skipped. Next week, we go darker. Gunnar of Hlíðarendi chose death over exile. Next week, a man with no name, no rank, and no armor held a bridge alone against 15,000 soldiers. He bought the Viking age one final hour. Nobody wrote down what to call him.